Hello and welcome to episode number 6 of the Unit 42 Beyond the Hunt series. My name is Ryan with Palo Alto Network's Unit 42 Managed Threat Hunting, and I'm going to be going over some of the active campaigns that we looked at in April of 2024. If you're not yet familiar with this series, please head on back to episode number 1. That's where I lay the groundwork for what it is that we do here. For those of you already in the know or simply wanting to go, let's do it. I'm going to scroll down here and take a look at our table of contents. We did cover our CVE 2024-3400 within the Pan OS, but that has been discussed ad infinitum, so I am going to skip that for this particular episode. We will be covering a critical vulnerability in CrushFTP and talking about WMI persistence via what's known as subscriptions. So let's get to it. First and foremost, if you have CrushFTP within your environment, it is critical that you update. And that is because there was an advisory released on April 19th of 2024. And it basically explains that if you have a DMZ environment, you might have a little luck here. But in general, threat actors are able to get into versions prior to 11.1.0, for example, and grab your files. And of course, that's not something that you want. So in our report, we provided hunting queries to identify versions of CrushFTP, to identify processes spawned by CrushFTP, which would be post-exploitation, and then of course, any files that have been manipulated by CrushFTP, which can be noisy, of course, if you're looking for any files because it is a file transfer utility. Basically, our recommendations here are that you just ensure that if you have CrushFTP within your environment, that it's up to date and that you're updating your software. And of course, any other software asset inventory management is critical. Everyone should know that by now. Let's move on down here to WMI subscriptions. So the Windows Management Instrumentation Framework has been around since at least Windows 2000. And it has a number of databases, including things like which antivirus utilities are installed on your machine and all these different types of things. There's a persistence mechanism, and it was, I believe, first and or at least popularized in 2015 by Matt Graber with his Black Hat white paper. And this is it right here. The link will be in the video description. And essentially what we're looking at is there are things that are known as consumers and filters. A filter is like a trigger in the WMI database, and then a consumer is something that consumes the actual filter. That can be something like sending an email, running a process command line, all kinds of things, logging something to the event logs. And here's an example. Let's see, I'll go right here, and we're going to look for malicious and go to this guy. Here's an example of code. So we set an executable path for evil.exe. We create the filter. In this case, it's based on system uptime being within a certain number of milliseconds. And then we basically bind those together with what's known as a filter to consumer binding. So many folks are not looking for this, and it's important that you do. So there are a number of processes that are associated with the actual consumers executing. So take a look at those on the screen. For example, scrcons.exe refers to scripting consumers. And so for things like JScript, which is Microsoft's versions of JavaScript, and then VBScript, that's what consumes them. We have a number of hunting queries that we provided in our report to our clients. We're looking for activity such as scrcons executing, the WMI privileged services handler executing. We're looking for WMIC, which is the command line version of WMI, basically, which has technically been deprecated, but still in Windows. And then also looking for PowerShell commandlets that are being utilized in order to create these bad boys. We have one more, which is looking at the event log that's dedicated to WMI called Microsoft Windows WMI Activity Operational. There's a great reference here to the Velociraptor Velocidex, if you will, their documentation. And basically what you want to do is look for any of those above processes or DLLs being loaded and executing commands. And of course, looking for the commandlets in WMIC being used to create these things. So that's it for this episode. If you are interested in learning more about Unit 42 MTH or MDR, please take a look at the link in our description to get started. And for that matter, as usual, please like and subscribe so you make sure that you don't miss any future episodes. Again, my name is Ryan with Unit 42 MTH, and I will see you next time.